following show is a paid program.
Hey, thanks family for being with me on today. We have Dave Tolliver of Menatlarge, 34 years in the music business. He's from Cleveland, Ohio, and he is part of a legacy of singers. Let's show the cover so we can remember Dave. There you go. We've got Dave Tolliver and his partner, and now let's see Dave. There you go. Dave Tolliver, I appreciate you, my friend, for coming. Wanted people to remember you. You're looking the same, my friend.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
34 years in the business. Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, man. I can't complain, man. It's a blessing, man, to be here, and just to still be able to walk through those doors is an honor. And I'm grateful, man, humbled and just grateful.
Right. Our topic today is staying relevant during COVID-19. You, my friend, have been relevant the whole entire time. I was saying you're from Cleveland, Ohio. You're part of a legacy of singers and people in music. How did that come? Let's talk about your family a little bit.
Well, it started off, let's say a crazy thing. Well, my grandfather, he was a choir director, and he took a choir to sing for President Roosevelt. Then as history will repeat itself, Menatlarge we with Bill Clinton to all the black colleges. My mom, when he was running for president, my mom was in an off-Broadway production of the Mahalia Jackson story. My grandfather, not my grandfather, but my uncle, I call him my dad. He was one of the top programmers in the nation, but he's also a musician. He had a group called Sexual Harassment, which a record he had called I Need a Freak, which anybody from Snoop Dogg, Too Short, Insane Clown Posse, and the biggest names to sample the music were the Black Eyed Peas. My Humps used a lyric, his music for their record. So, it was only natural that I fell into the same thing. You're a product of your environment, and that's all you're around, and that's what you'll be. So here I am, world.
Starting back around 15 or 16 or so, you started a group, huh?
I started singing in like junior high school with another group. They weren't so good, but they were my friends, so we had a good time. Then I moved on with another group, and then they ended up starting their own group. And then I got with my partner, Jason Champion, and him and we used to go around everywhere and just sing. We were singing rib burn-offs, talent shows. My dad would sneak us in nightclubs, and we just would sing, man. That was the environment then. That was the culture then, was to go home and practice, get your group together ready for the talent shows. And, schools allowed other people to come and be in the talent shows. It was Collinwood, Shaw, East Cleveland, especially the rib burn-offs. We like food, so we were at the rib burn-offs, and, they always had talent there, So it was, and his dad was a big time evangelist. And so I think it just was destined. I think you can shape your children's future by just in their early ages, by putting them in those environments, and they'll eventually fall into it unless you just do something to really piss them off, man. They'll fall into it.
I like that and what you said. I love the fact that your family nurtured what you were just really wanting to do. They were okay with it. They really pushed you and they said, okay, that's fine. Let's do it.
I think, they were just comfortable with the fact, and they knew that I was safe, because at 15, I started doing radio for a station in Cleveland called 93 FM WZAK, which my dad was one of the top programmers in the nation. So they knew as long as I was with him or I was at the radio station that I was safe.
Right.
And I worked weird. I worked 1 to 6:30 in the morning, then went to school at 8:30. And all through the summer, I just worked Monday through Sunday through Monday. I worked overnight. I just did it, and went and went and went. And I just think the fact that they just knew that I was safe. And when we got with Gerald and started doing music, they were like, "Oh yeah, he good now," so they weren't worried. And plus, I back then, we worried about disappointing our parents. Well, I did,
Hmm.
and I didn't want to do anything to let anybody down because they had such high standards and high regard for what they wanted me to be, but who they knew I was shaping to be, and I wanted to be that anyway. So I just walked that path.
Let's start off with that part where you were saying being in radio, in broadcasting there. And let's talk
Hmm.
to some of the people, young people really want to get into radio. What would be some advice and what did you learn while you were there?
Oh, being in radio, back then, being in radio was really something serious. Not today where you can get on and just do and say anything that's cool. Back then, you really had to have some structure. You had to have voice. You had to have talent. You had to be spontaneous. I'm going to say spontaneous. Spontaneous. You had to know things because we didn't have the internet. We didn't have we had the AP feed that came across, and you went by what you watched on TV, what the AP feed sent across, or what we read in the Cleveland Plain Dealer. And so you really had to be tight with your with your talent and what you were doing on the air. And now I think in all these markets, especially with the major broadcasters, they have like maybe one or two names. Back then there were names. They have like maybe one or two names that they're willing to pay, and then they'll have some less experienced guys or they'll voice track. But my advice to you today is to like, and same goes for music, man. If you want to be in radio, you need to do something that's going to make you stick out, man. What are you bringing to the table with your show, with your programming? What is it that they're going to pay you hundreds of thousands of dollars for that's different that they're paying anybody else for in their line of networks? Why? Are you entertaining? Are you funny? Are you spontaneous? Are you witty? Um, are you up on the current events? Can you, I mean, and can you do your show with integrity as per se to something that might not be as pleasing to the people, and you turn it into something that's newsworthy, that's not going to offend people. Being in media it's a tough job. Like
Hmm.
doing your job, you have to make the decision on what to talk about and what not to talk about. Are we going to offend people? Do we care if we offend people? And that's a really hard thing. It's a flip of the coin because the way people think today, one
Right.
day they want to hear about rape and murder, and then the next day they want to hear you talk about your garden. And then if you talk about it too long, they lose it. It's so many different things that you have to
Hmm.
worry about when you're in broadcast media, whether it's TV or radio. Not offending your audience. Are they happy? Are they sad? Let's keep that
Right.
cumulative audience. It's so many different things that you have to worry about. So it's a tough job, but then there's the behind the scenes job too, the production, the voiceovers, all that. Do you have a voice that's made for radio? I mean, it's a lot of stuff, but I say to anything, just go get it. Just go get it.
Just go get
But
it.
practice your craft. Practice your craft to the point where you know that your thoroughly are good, not just because your mom or your cousins or your uncles said it. Keep people in your camp that'll be honest about whether you did something that sucks or that it was really good. And I think that's why we put out good stuff because we have people around us that would tell us it was BS, or they would tell us it was good. And I mean, they were Gerald and they were good for that, man. Gee whiz.
Absolutely. Everybody wants to know, how did you meet Gerald Levert? I've had so many questions. Like they said, Cam, you got to ask that one.
Well, Gerald Levert, my big bro, my teacher, my mentor. Um, so my mom worked before my mom passed away. She worked for the government for about 19 years, and part time. Back then they didn't pay much to women like that.
Hmm.
80s, 70s, 80s. So she worked a part time job at this place called Fillmore East. It was a record store. And during those times, artists had to come to the mom and pop record stores. They had to, because if the mom and pops didn't support your record, you weren't you might as well kiss your career goodbye because the retailers all stuck together. So everybody who's anybody would come in that record store. I'm talking about Luther Vandross, Glenn Jones, Skip
Mm.
Martin and the Daz Band, Curtis Blow, LL Cool J. When I say the cream of the crop for any artist during those times came in that place.
Wow.
Well, Gerald lived right down the block. He lived in Shaker Heights. The record store was like right on Lee Road in Chagrin and Kinsman at the time. Which, if you go on one part of Kinsman is Cleveland, the next part is Shaker. So he lived in Shaker, about four streets down, and he was always in the record store. Him and my mom became real good friends, and I would see him in there too, and we wouldn't have conversations. But I was probably about 12 or 13, which would make him about 16, 17 at the time. And I wouldn't really talk, but I would see those guys at when I worked at the station. I would host the events at the park. They had something called the
Right.
Miller Sound Express, and I would in Miller and BET Soundstage once they broke, and I would see them in the park and stuff, and we would talk and pass and have a quick conversation, but nothing really deep or anything like that or of meaning. And one day there was a disc jockey that worked at the station. His name was Jeffrey Charles, and he was a singer as well. So he had a show one night, and everybody knew that we sang and did this all over the city and stuff like that. And we even had put out a record back then. The name of the group back then was called BBT, Big But Talented. How about the first record? Right. And the first records we performed were by BBD. I thought it was me. That's the first records we were performing when we really got together. That's crazy. So Gerald happened to show up at the after party at Jeffrey Charles's house, and so everybody was like, sing, 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 sing. Now this is 1986, and so we sing. We used to run around with this Casio keyboard with the tape on the back on the batteries, and so we sing, and he's like, "Yo, I'm gonna hook y'all up." Well, after that night, we didn't see Gerald again for 3 years. So we didn't think nothing of it because we were kids, we were having fun, we were liking girls, having the girls, and I was at the radio station, so I was already somewhat a celebrity in the city anyway as a teenager. So and then Jason benefited off of that. So then after that, believe it or not, 1989, it was the summer, and my guy and one of my homeboys who passed away a couple years ago, we were dancers for a rap group called Johnny O and the Sorcerer Crew. And so we rehearsed at the same place that Gerald recorded at. So we came and we were coming out, and he was like, we saw Gerald, and he was like, "Yo, I got an idea for three big dudes that can sing, dance, cute, the whole nine." And so after that, man, probably like the next week, we went up to the studio and we auditioned for him. Steve Russell from Troop was there. The Rude Boys were there. Mark from Levert Sean was there. And they was like, yeah, and we had these two other guys too, but they just didn't work. It didn't work out at all. They was in the
Right.
group for about a quick 30 seconds. Then the next day we came back and we auditioned for Pops, Eddie, and after that it was just a wrap. But and I know I'm long, but after that we started recording immediately. Like the next couple, we started just recording and writing, and it took another 3 years after that. So 1992, May of 1992, our first single, "Use Me," dropped on the East West Atlantic record label. Yeah. It was a long ride. It was a good long ride. But
Wow.
sometimes that's how long it takes. That's how long it takes sometimes.
Absolutely, absolutely. People want to know in just doing that and just working with Gerald all that time, what did you learn during the process with him? I'm sure so many
No,
lessons.
man, I learned that number one, time is money and money is time.
Yeah.
And time is somebody else's time and time is somebody else's money too. I learned that, you know, I used to be really nervous with him, man. And he was brutal. Like, if this was uncensored, I could just really tell you some of the stuff that he would say, man. And I used to be like, like I'm a grown man, dog. You ain't that much older than me to be talking to me like that. But
Right.
then he would pull me to the side and he said, man,
Yeah.
people out and about and singing places and they singing their tail off. But when they get in the studio, you be like, man, what happened to you? Where'd your throat go? I mean, did you forget how to sing once you came here? I mean, but that microphone being in that box, all mental. And people never really pay attention to the mental side of any profession.
Right.
And now people are coming out now talking about the mental illness and the mental stresses. This
I agree with that because
anything.
of
Talk
yeah.
about I mean, but they talk about how they really get on these sports guys. They making all this money, you ain't doing it, but you got to realize the mental fatigue, the mental
Right.
stresses. And in the music business, going in that booth and say it's your first time going in there, and you go in there with somebody like me that you may look up to. I went in there with Gerald, somebody that I look up to and wanted to be like, and I'm like, damn,
Right. And then
my
you
teeth chattering like,
forget or
yeah.
anxiety or whatever it might be. All of it.
You forget who you are and you forget what you are when you're in there with
Exactly.
somebody that you might look at as being a superior being to you in
Yeah.
the field that you're trying to get into, man.
Right.
Man. But like I said, from him, and I just learned to always be a killer, never be afraid of sharing, you meaning like you don't give nobody your mic, but never be afraid to share your mic. When I say give anybody your mic, like letting anybody show you up on your stage.
Uh-huh.
I've kept to that and it's like it could be a small little play around, and I hear him, man, don't let him. His words, don't let him bitch you, don't let him bitch you, and I'll be like,
Hmm.
all right, and but I'm not afraid of anybody. I
Yeah.
know that there are people out there that are better than me vocally and different stuff like that, but I have a certain je ne sais quoi to what I do. And I tell these young artists, you can't be afraid of going up against or on stage with other people, because you have to find out what you do great, and
Right.
what you do great, people will still appreciate what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the midst of you being outsung or outperformed, they'll be like, "Oh man, you were still great," and that's what I learned. That's one of some of the things I learned from him, man. Definitely,
I like that. I like that a lot because of the fact you're telling a lot of people. We were talking a little earlier, 40 million people are unemployed. And we were just talking
Jesus.
about that. They have dreams, but it's so many dreams that are in the cemetery that
Woo.
nobody, man, those people, it's a lot of people that passed away with their dreams with them because they
You,
lived through other people. They were working so hard, they were trying to do for family, but they never did their dream.
Man, you hit me so hard when you said that earlier. You almost brought me to tears, man. It's so many people that I love, man, that I've lost recently that
Right,
never got a chance to finish what they wanted to do. They always
right,
talked about these dreams, and then something happened. And I know from the ones that I've lost that haven't been able to finish, it started here.
right.
The breakdown of your mental strength will
Mm-hmm.
break down everything else that's working in your body. It will stop it from working any way that it needs to work. It'll kill
Mm-hmm.
your will, it'll kill your physical. And like I tell my wife, I said, you got the physical part down, but
Yeah.
what you guys have to understand, all the things that I've been through, from injuries to, I've had so many losses of friends and family over the last 10, 12 years, man.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way I keep going is to keep my head up, man. Believe, have
Right.
faith, and just keep going. Because I said, if I didn't believe that it was better, or that I'm going to keep going, or that there's something out there for me, man, I'd probably just lay in the bed popping pills every day. Just being
Mm-hmm.
honest with you,
Mm-hmm.
because that's how much I'm hurting on the inside. So I yeah, that was a deep statement. You said there's so much money in the cemetery.
Wow.
Man, you knocked me off my feet with that, man, because I say that, but I don't say it in those exact words. That's
Yeah.
just a direct statement, and it was so deep, man. You killed me
Yeah.
with that one today. I'm gonna post that too.
Absolutely. And the thing that really stops us, I was listening to Steve Harvey about jumping. And so many people, so many of us are in fear. Fear stops us. And it's
Yeah.
fear of the family not, receiving it, or the family might be in fear telling you not to do it. It might be their fear that stops them. And
You
just
know, I,
talk to people about fear.
well, fear and faith don't exist.
Yeah.
And some people may agree with me on this, and some people may not agree with me on this. Having faith in God is having faith in yourself.
Mm,
Your relationship with God and who God is starts within you. If you don't believe in God, then you don't believe in yourself. Because I'm here to tell you that you can pray all day long. He ain't gonna drop you a bag of money out of nowhere.
mm-hmm.
God provides you these opportunities to take chances in life and to make the best out of the situation that you have at hand. And you have to be willing to accept that serenity prayer too. At the same time, the things that I can't change. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know verbatim, but tell me the things that I can. That let me to do it, and allow me to know the difference. Man,
Mm-hmm.
you have to walk in it. My grandmother used to tell me, hope for the best, but be prepared for the worst. I used to think that was the dumbest thing I ever heard in my life, but that's the way I walk every day. I'm
Right.
not shocked by in today's world. I'm not shocked by anything I see or hear, because ain't no telling. We don't pull the strings,
Right.
so faith and healing and just strength has to start within yourself. The things that are holding you down, if you don't want them in your life anymore, you have to want to be delivered from that stuff, or it's not going to go anywhere. You have to have the want and the desire. That's the God in you to get it out and to excommunicate it from your system, from your mind, from just around you. And it starts with the things that you're doing every day, from the people you're hanging around, to the food you're eating, to the things you're watching on TV, the things you're listening to, the things that you're watching, listening to radio wise. That's all a process of that will, it can and it will pull you away from your prize and your focus. It will,
Wow.
especially the people around you. I heard a long time ago, EPMD said, if you hang around 9 broke friends, you're bound to be the 10th one.
There you go.
Man, and for years, all I had around me was people that I had to take care of. And I'm like, damn, here I am. Where all the millions go?
Well, let's do this. We're going to take a break, and we're going to be right back with Dave Tolliver.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
During the season's best sales event, Ron Carter Cadillac delivers 0% APR for 72 months plus $2,500 bonus cash on all 2020 XT4, XT5, and XT6. Or drive 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection only $299 a month. 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection just $369 a month. And first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection just $399 a month. All for 39-month lease with just $1 down.
RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm attorney Willie Powles. Allow me to express myself with you. If you've been hurt or injured in a car or truck accident, give me a call and we'll get it fixed today.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, we're back with Dave Tolliver of Menatlarge. Dave, you were just talking to us about broke friends. Hanging around broke friends. If you're if you hanging around 9, you're gonna be the 10th one, right?
Man, and just
That's true.
Anything like when I moved to Atlanta, I got so disgruntled with how it was, and how hard they were trying to make it for me to get in down here. And I started going back home a lot, and I'm like, yo, these cats are just doing the same thing. They just sitting around, they ain't doing nothing. And then you sit there, and before you know it, you done sat there 3 or 4 days, and you haven't got anything accomplished. Because for me, even if we're going on a vacation or I'm going home to visit, I'm trying to find something to do, studio wise, or something that could turn into money, or something that's going to equate money while we're there. Even when we on vacation, but I make sure it's fun for everybody. But even then, I just try to make sure, man. Generational wealth is something that we don't have, man. And I broke some chains with my family, but I'm trying to break even more before I leave this planet, man. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at. Tell Ron Carter send me one of them Cadillacs.
There you go. I like that. In doing so, we were talking about how Menatlarge start, but how did the name Black come about? BLAQ.
Black Pavarotti. Well, I am a tenor. I guess Gerald was like a tenor, baritone, whatever, and Pavarotti, Luciano Pavarotti. I'm a fan of Luciano Pavarotti, and 3 tenors. And I feel like he probably was, or if not, is the greatest tenor of all time based on worldwide acclaim, sales, everything. And he's also a big man. So I say he was the greatest tenor. So I was like, thus and therefore, I'm a tenor. I'm black, but I wanted to take the racial connotations off of it, so it doesn't therefore be LAQ. And then Pavarotti, I'm a singer, Pavarotti. And I feel like I'm something like the greatest. That was my last solo album title, was Something Like the Greatest.
Right.
And I feel like I'm not saying I am the greatest, but I'm something like the greatest because some people call him the great. I could sing like him. Some people call Gerald the great. I could sing like him. Anybody you call the GOAT, Stevie, Charlie, Donnie, I can sing a little bit of something like all of them. So I am something like the greatest, the Black Pavarotti.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
The topic today, again, is staying relevant during COVID-19. Speaking to a lot of the local artists, they want to go mainstream. Of course, now COVID is hit. So many people at home. How are we staying, just talking to, because you've got projects out, you've still been working. Let's talk to people about just staying relevant and just working, just doing the work.
For me, I was telling you earlier, my kids, especially my daughter's like, Dad, why you always on live? Why you always on live? Because there's not as many people as the people she like Ariana Grande and people like that. But me, yeah, okay, I'm 50 and she's like 20 something, and but it's very important to use this internet. Like today, getting into business, music, or whatever it may be, it's either your following, which means your numbers, your network, which means your relationships, or either you have enough money to buy your way into the game. Once you have one of those, have a lock on it, then you can get to the other two, and that's the easy way to get in there. But I would say, for the younger cats getting in there today, make yourself as visible as possible. And, a lot of times I sit on these panels and stuff like that, and I tell them, we all have to drive on the same highway, but we don't always have to drive the same car. So I tell the artists to stick out. And this might be a little brash for some people, but stick out like a cold sore on a light-skinned dude's face. You want to stick out and be different. You don't want to just be caught up in the shuffle, because most of those cats that get caught up in the shuffle, I mean, like, look at T-Pain, right? He came out and he took it to the next level from the Roger Troutman's type of stuff.
Right.
Everybody started doing it. And even though he's still working behind the scenes, producing and stuff like that, his artistry won't be accepted with the same acclaim because everybody and their mama is doing it now and they can do it. They made it, you know what I mean? So, and it's like, so when you come out, I would say, maybe embody a little bit of somebody who you really like, but develop your own thing. Like, I'm gonna tell you, the other night, myself, Tony Terry, Skip Martin from the Daz Band, David Pitt Conley from Surface, and Glenn Jones was supposed to be there, but he didn't make it. We did an impromptu pop-up on Facebook, performing some of our songs and new songs that we had. And in the end, this was a dream come true for me. Me and Tony Terry brothers. But Skip Martin, when I was a kid, he was the reason I wanted to sing, man. And I've been trying to get with him for years. And I want to thank my girl, Mary Chalette, who me and Adrian Meeks have met at the same time. She's an artist that we kind of consult. And I saw her online with him. And I said, what he doing over in the hood at that radio station? I said, get his number, tell him to call me. He calls me the next morning. He asks about my dad. He asks about the guy, Jeffrey Charles, the radio guy whose house we sung over and got discovered by Gerald. Then he asks about Tony Terry. I connect him with Tony Terry. I connect him with this guy. 5 hours later, 6 hours later, I'm at Tony Terry's loft down at Atlantic Station, and we doing an impromptu concert. And when in the end, he came to me and he said, man, because I told him, how much I just admired and adorned him. And he said, yeah, man, I hear you. Yeah, you did steal some of my stuff, but you took it and you made it your own. I respect that. I love you, big boy. And man, it was, and that's what you want.
Right.
You want, I redid Baby I'm Ready, Gerald's record, Baby I'm Ready, Levert's record, their last #1 they had before he went to his solo. And I don't get comparisons. They be like, man, you did your thing on that, man. Gerald should be proud. And I let the family hear it. And it's like, when you do stuff like that, you want to be compared, but you want to create your own lane and your own identity when you're doing it. And that's key. Look at CeeLo Green, man.
Yes.
You know, he came out and he tried different things. He did the craze. He started singing, and then he was rapping, and then he was doing all kinds of stuff. Then he dressing up in these crazy outfits at the Grammys and all kinds of stuff and the Soul Train Awards. He sticks out, and people may think it's corny, but it's keeping him paid.
Right. It
It's
sure
keeping him
is.
when you got to be noticed. Cats like the new rappers like Lil Baby and other guys like that. Only a few of them will get the light that Lil Baby and the Baby are getting. Then everybody else will come out and then they'll start sounding like that. But it depends on what they do progressing going forward. If you figure out the niche with the relationship, the money, and a lot of these guys are street guys and they buy their way into it. So then you get in and you got that movement and you got the money, then you might get it. But my advice, if you don't have the money, you don't have the movement, you don't have the network, you got to figure it out. Figure out a way for people to notice you and look at you different and not say, oh, you just another little baby, or another little Travis Scott or another Doug 42, you know what I mean, or another Drake. Those are good comparisons to what's happening right now, especially as far as rap goes. But, you want to be another day, you want to be another you. That's what you want. You want to be loved and adored for being another you, not for being a carbon copy of somebody else. We never wanted to be, none of the groups in my day ever wanted to be like the other group. Menatlarge didn't want to be like Silk. Silk didn't want to be like Drew Hill. Drew Hill didn't want to be like Jodeci. And Jodeci didn't want to be like Boys II Men. We all wanted our own identity. Now, there are some similarities because we all drew our strength from gospel, like from James Moore and John P. Key and people like that, Daryl Coley, the Williams brothers, great artists like that. But, we all had our own identities. And, I think that's what a lot of these artists are missing today. And, their craft, practice your craft, even though this is a day where you can get on records and say and sing about anything and people will buy it. You want your record to last. Like the So Alone record we have, it's still in top playlists and it lasts. It's a song about my mom passing away. That song is still played heavy at funerals, at parties, love songs. Every time you go somewhere, it may be one of the only ones. And that's what you want to do is create a timeless effect on your fans. And if you can't do that, then you better make sure you have a plan B because it ain't gonna work for you.
Absolutely, I agree with that. What I love about you guys, the two of you all, and just the singing that you did back then, when you say your name, the group Menatlarge, people automatically know the songs, that capture it, kind of like Earth, Wind, and Fire, Gerald.
I wish we had
Levert
those songs, yeah. I wish we had as many as them. You know what I mean? But, I tell people, this allows me to take advantage of situations like being on your show today.
Yes.
If I was Earth, Wind, and Fire, I may not ever have a chance to be on the Cam Hill show. and it's all relevant.
Yes,
I would tell my guys in back 06 and 07, we were touring with Silk and H-Town, Silk, H-Town, Shy, Cut Close, Menatlarge, and the Rude Boys. And I was telling them, because I was doing an internet show then, and I was interviewing everybody. They was like, you make money doing this? I said, no, but not really. But I said, I can. I don't believe in charging the artists and different stuff like that. And I said, it's more of keeping me relevant, doing something different outside of just singing, And then when I did my 50th birthday party, we did a Zoom. I had all my guys, and that's what they talking about. They were talking about me being in radio, doing this, just all the different things that I did. And you just I told them you got to take advantage of it because whether it's one person on that broadcast or it's 10,000 people on that broadcast, somebody on there knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody that can get you a show, that can get you an appearance, can get you an endorsement, and you need to take advantage of all of it. And now all of them, I don't know what they're doing, but some of them have taken advantage of it, and some of them haven't. But yeah, that's in a nutshell, brother.
Well, man, I tell you what, you have really just opened the door and just opened the world to a lot of, you don't know how many people that people looked up to you. And I've had so many people all this week as we were advertising saying, man, had it not been for Menatlarge, we wouldn't have done certain things, or we wouldn't have gone into music, knowing that part. And then you are CEO of Tolliver Consultants and Media Group. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Tolliver Consultants and Media Group is my wife and I. not only do we do writing, production, consulting, but my wife put it this way, on the music side, we do everything.
Yes.
I even do, write bios, and, I do, piecework, like write up commercials and different stuff for people at the same time. But my wife she's been a black educator for about 25 years. She's also a nail instructor too at the CEI hair school I was telling you about. And what she does is she shows you how to go get that scholarship money. There's so much money out there that, my son's not going to have a bill. He'll graduate from Jackson State University in May with 2 degrees and a minor, and will not have a bill to pay because my wife was diligent on finding that information. And what she does is show you how to go get it yourself. And we as a people, we love to get some information. Yeah, I got this from my spot. Dog. Where you get it from? Nah, I can't even put you up on that.
Right.
Why not? Why not?
Right.
She gives you that information, and she has a plan, a system where she'll start working with you from, ninth grade all the way through college, or even in middle school, where, we have a plan. The most important thing, I'll give you this for free, is that the most important thing they're looking at, you might have all A's, but they're looking at your test scores.
There you go.
And they're looking at your test scores, for all you high school students or parents out there that have kids getting ready to go to college, looking at your test scores, and the type of money you get as far as scholarships depends on the majors that you go into. They'll actually pay you to go to college for certain majors.
Right.
So,
that's good.
That's what she does. She's dope. My wife is, man, I know she gets frustrated because, the bureaucracy of education in the government, she makes good money, but it's not as much and there's the mental aspect, again, another profession there.
Yes.
You're dealing with somebody else's problem. And in today's society, when we were kids, if somebody said, well, your son's doing so, he doing what? Hold on, I'm on my way up there. And you got spanked in class.
You did.
Because they didn't ask no questions. But now, when the parents call and say, well, I know my son ain't did that. My son ain't did S. Get the F out of here. He ain't did no.
Yes.
These kids, they act one way at home, and then when they come to school, it's a total different thing.
Right.
Like you might have a problem child at home, and then you'll come to school and say, oh Lord, your baby is just such a God sent to work with in class. And they be like, my son, my daughter?
Right.
Yeah, and then that's why they can't believe, because when they come to school, if they good at home and they come to school and they acting out, they don't believe it.
Right.
But it's a mental oppression for these ladies and gentlemen that teach, and they have a tough job.
They do
to educate these kids. There's so many things that they're whatever the FDA allows to go into these foods that are altering these children, the way they act, the way they move, the way they think, and it's making it harder for the teachers to do what they need to do, and they turn around and blame it on the teachers, but it's a bigger picture than that. Because if we really brought it to the light, then we looking at something else, and then that's the movie where people was tapping your phones and trying to get you and hide you out because you got up lawsuits against the FDA and all, but I ain't gonna get into all that on the camera.
Right.
So we're gonna keep it
there
light.
You go.
But, I mean,
you go.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, man.
Absolutely. Over 20 stage plays and 6 movies plus. Wow. How did that happen?
Man, it's been really about 40. Like, you're in Houston, right?
Yeah, I'm in Houston.
So, okay. My very first play was a play called Stop Cheating on God's Time. And the playwright is from Houston. His name is Dwight Baxter. Dwight Baxter is a Broadway actor, dancer. He worked with Pia Zadora and all kinds of people back in the day. And he handpicked me and my guy to be in his play. And it was like 97, 96, and it was called Stop Cheating on God's Time. It was myself, Sean Levert, Gerald was in it sometimes, Dave Hollister, Clifton Powell, who plays Pinky, Erica from Mary Mary, Nikki Gilbert from Brownstone. All these people were in this play. And that was and from there, I just caught the bug. And, for a minute, I was on the run of plays, man. I've done plays with Thelma from Good Times. I've done plays with Rob Tresvant, Johnny Gill. Sean Levert and I were always together. Of course, Tony Terry. Man, just so many people. And a lot of times it's like free agency in sports, and, once they tired of you somewhere else, somebody else will pick you up. They hear about your good work and, your price and what you're getting for what you're paying and your ethic and how you turned out the crowd, then somebody else will call you. I've never, humbly, I say to you that I've never had to audition for one of my roles except for with Tyler Perry, and I choked bad. I choked bad because I wasn't used to auditioning, and all the playwrights and directors that I worked with told me that you were just a natural. I didn't take the time to finish going to my classes, which I had, because I'm looking at TV, I'm like, I'm missing out on some of this money.
Yeah.
And even in COVID, they're still filming. Like, if you drive around Atlanta, you'll see these yellow signs that have these codes on it. And the code is to tell you where to go for where you're filming. And you'll see them. They'll be at any given place in the city. They're either white with black or yellow with black lettering on it with these codes on them to tell you where to go. I have been in a few movies. I was in Tyler Perry's Medea's Big Happy Family. I was in the choir scene. That's all. I was in what's this movie? What to Expect When You're Expecting, with Chris Rock, Cameron Diaz, and Jennifer Lopez was in it. I only saw Cameron Diaz because I played a role. She had a fat camp, and I was one of the fatties in the camp. And I guess they couldn't find anybody that looked like me to play the slimmer role going forward. So they that was just my part. And then the rest of them were independent movies, Closet Space, The Killing Secret, Recognize 1 and 2. I've played gangsters. I played myself. And normally in the plays, big dudes, a lot of times he's not the love interest until the curtains go down. I'm normally the father, the grandfather, the pastor, the thug, the joke. And, starting off, that's all I was. But then as it went down, I was like, let me learn how to preach. So I learned how to preach, and, I started getting the pastor roles. And, it's, when your singing career starts to, I don't want to say die down, but maybe dull down a little bit, that was a way for a lot of us to get money back in the day. And then they had the writer's strike in Hollywood, and then all the A-listers was coming, Vivica Fox, and what's the sexy dude from Young and the Restless? He was just on the other day claiming his sexuality. Forgot his name. Light-skinned dude, Shamar Moore.
Yeah.
And all those guys were doing plays, so then it started slowing down for us. But, luckily I've made gratefully and luckily and thankfully, I've made a trail of good footprints that people want to follow, and they want to come find me and get me to work. So, I'm thankful and I'm excited, man.
Sounds
for what's
good.
getting ready to come. Yeah,
We're going to take one more break real quick. Let's take a break, and we'll be right back with Dave Tolliver.
We'll be right back to the Cam Hill Show after these messages.
During the season's best sales event, Ron Carter Cadillac delivers 0% APR for 72 months plus $2,500 bonus cash on all 2020 XT4, XT5, and XT6. Or drive 2020 XT4 Luxury Collection only $299 a month. 2020 XT5 Premium Luxury Collection just $369 a month. And first ever 2020 XT6 Premium Luxury Collection just $399 a month. All for 39-month lease with just $1 down.
RonCarterCadillac.com.
I'm attorney Willie Powles. Allow me to express myself with you. If you've been hurt or injured in a car or truck accident, give me a call and we'll get it fixed today.
When it comes to protecting yourself and your partners, all the information out there can be overwhelming. Visit our website. We are a free and confidential service striving to help you stay informed and stay notified. We are committed to a healthy Houston.
Have you been injured in an 18-wheeler accident, truck accident, car accident? Was someone texting and ran into the back of you, not paying attention? It doesn't matter what it is. Give me a call, attorney Willie Powles. We'll fix it today. The number is 281-881-2457. Again, that number is 281-881-2457. We'll fix it today. Call attorney Willie Powles.
And now back to the Cam Hill Show.
Hey, family. family, I'm so glad we're back. You're back with us, Dave Tolliver of Menatlarge. Hey, my friend, we were just talking about you being in plays, you being in music, you being in a lot of things. Let's talk about your new projects now. You've got some great projects out.
Oh, not only am I doing new stuff, my group, Menatlarge, me and my original guy, Jason Champion, we just got back together under the direction of his little brother, Jay Sean Champion. We've been back in the studio, and it's been 20 some odd years since we've been together in the studio. And man, I tell you, this music is, oh my God, it's fantastic. But on the docket right now, I have tried some different music as a kid growing up. The album's going to be called, it's a solo album, it's coming out, it's going to be called Aunt Gail, Aunt Minnie, Granny Smith. They were my father's sister, aunt, and mother, and they introduced me to the blues, and now there's this culture called Southern Soul. So my first single was called Love Like This, which was released last Monday under the Song Source Music Group Empire brand. Shout out to my big bro, my big little bro, Adrian Meeks, for just believing in me and putting his money where my mouth is. You dig what I'm saying? The record is out right now. It's called Love Like This.
Right.
And it's if you like the juke joint, if you like the blues, it's a nice record. And I think I've surprised myself by just coming in and not really being too familiar with the genre, but familiar enough to where I want to dance with it a little bit. You know, I like, Bobby Womack. I like Calvin Richardson. I'm just excited about what's getting ready to happen with this music. It's a new day, and like I said, the single is out right now. It's called Love Like This. We're getting ready to film the video next week or the week after, and I have a plethora of things that are out there on the solo tip. You can go pick up. Like I said, I redid Gerald Levert's Baby I'm Ready. That's out there. I have a record called Home that I put out that went to like #4 on the single sales charts, and it was also a license on Scream Queens and Single Ladies.
Now that's a hot one. Home is really good. That's a hot one, just like Love Like This. It's real hot. They're hot.
I appreciate that Home record. I think that record is gonna live forever. When I make sure I perform it everywhere I go in. I have like this extended version that I perform, and people really, really, because it's a grown up song. It has a good feel to it, and it's sexy, man. And people like sexy, good feel, and grown up. Especially in those areas, and even and the thing about the younger generation. One of the things that I used to get so much when I would come down here and I was running around doing the independent thing on my own was, yeah, man, I F with you the long way, man. I ain't know about your music, man. But, when I heard some of the things you were singing, man, my mom used to play it, man, when she was cleaning up. Man, I F with you. So, I garnered a lot of younger fans like that. And, yeah, man, it's out there. And it's going to be a beautiful 2021, whether we in quarantine or we on the scene.
Right.
It's going to be mean just because I'm going to stay online. And I'm going to keep releasing records, man. I got gospel records that I haven't released yet. And it's just a bunch of stuff, man. We got so much stuff on the docket, man. So much stuff.
Absolutely. I'm so glad about that because I wanted you to tell people about your projects, to let people know to continue while we're quarantined. Continue going. Continue pushing forward. Don't let CNN, don't let any of the TV. They've got to turn it off. Just go with it. Again, like you were saying with faith.
Yeah. You have to, like there's a bump on your face getting ready to bust. You're either gonna let it sit there and turn black, or you're gonna bust it and get the pressure off of it. we wouldn't have no diamonds without pressure. And I just say, you need in this time, don't let the panic overtake you, because the panic will make you sick. The panic will make you sick. Like I said, if your mind is altered, then your body will falter. How about that?
Wow,
if your mind is altered, your body will falter. It'll stop you from wanting to get up and do anything, and it'll make you ache. It'll make your body ache. It will do that to you. So why not turn on? So let me look in the camera. So why not turn on some Dave Tolliver music? And it's available. Like for me, we get paid whether you buy it or whether you stream it. And if you're gonna stream it, I ask that you put it on repeat on Spotify and YouTube or the pay.
I like that.
I ask that you put it on repeat. But I have a lot of records, man. I have wedding songs. I have Christmas song out there. I have 3 solo albums out there. There are 4 Menatlarge albums out there, and a plethora of singles that I have on myself and features with other acts. Some of the stuff that I did with some other people is really not that good. I'll just be honest with you. But every I just was like doing a favor of just getting that money from them and just being honest. And but the things that I did on my own, I'll be honest with you, everything that I did on my own is good because I write about life, love, and relationships. I refuse to change it up because from the hardest of the hard to the softest of the soft, you love somebody or something dearly that you're willing to die for. And that's what it's all about, love, man. In the end, that's what it is, love. Love, get you something while you're out there. Get you some love.
Absolutely.
In the midst of this pandemic.
I know. What would you like to leave with the viewers, my friend?
Well, I would like for everybody to go and follow me. All my social media is Twitter and Instagram is Dave at Dave Men at Large, at Dave Men at Large. The Facebook is just Dave Tolliver. That's Tolliver. Man, just follow me and see what I got going on. I have a million shows. Like I was telling you earlier, I've been doing these online videos and interviews and stuff for the longest. Man, I had a talent night that I was doing that I'm getting ready to bring back on Tuesdays. I was interviewing independent artists as well as national artists. I had Steve Russell from Troop, Joyce Irby from Climax, Troy Taylor, who was responsible for doing stuff for Boys to Men. He got Trey Songz started. I had some really good stuff. Mark Gordon from Levert, just his story about him and Gerald. To people like James Worthy, Grammy-nominated producers who have produced for, Justin Bieber, and a bunch of people right now. So that's what I'm doing. And it don't stop. It won't stop. And just follow me at Dave Menatlarge or Dave Tolliver. Or you can even look up Black Paparazzi if you want. It'll come up.
It sure will. I'm telling you, I appreciate you so much, my friend. Dave Tolliver, I'm telling you, reach out to him, get on the path with him, keep looking at him because he is a force to be reckoned with. I'm telling you. I appreciate you so much, my friend. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, man.
God bless you and God keep you. You
too,
and
man.
your family.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Back at you. Everybody there, thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care, buddy. Talk to you soon. On tomorrow, we will have Tox Tales and we will have Shornette Hyder, 12:30, 1:30. See you then. Bye.